Hey, deserving listeners, it's time to continue our journey watching 90 Day Fiancé. By the way, if you haven't yet become a patron of the podcast, it'd be great if you went to patreon.com and became a patron. That's how we know you like the podcast. Let's get to the show and see if anything of interest comes out of my face.
This is not America, this is Tunisia. This is no good in Tunisia. I know my country.
It's going to be okay. I've got my jacket on. Look, this is what I'm wearing.
All right, it's interesting. So he's saying that he doesn't want her to dress like that. I think it's not the jacket, but underneath the jacket. If she takes off the jacket, I think that's what he's mainly concerned about. So it brings up two issues. One is that she is in a different country and there are different customs. And so in some respect, you're supposed to follow the customs of the land. Because if you don't, it might seem as though you're disrespecting someone's culture, and that could hurt Zied's feelings and people around him. Who knows? The other issue here is that she has talked about in the past, she has had controlling partners, and they have been jealous of her, jealous of her dress, and jealous of other men looking at her, and she doesn't want to repeat that. And so she's putting her foot down and saying, no, I'm going to dress the way I want to dress, and yeah, if something bad happens, I'm willing to incur the consequences, but you're just going to have to live with it. You know, we just met for the first time in person, and I'm going to start this relationship right. I think that's a great thing. Now, I don't know if this is the right choice in this instance. We'll see how this goes, but I absolutely respect her decision here. She is saying, we are not going to start this relationship the way I've been in other relationships. There are red flags that I am already seeing, that you are jealous and that you want to control the way I dress. And no, it's just not going to happen. And if something horrible happens, so be it. But I am not going to change the way I dress. I'm not going to change who I am, because if I do that, then you'll expect me to change another thing and another thing and another thing. Now, we don't know that about Zied. Maybe it is just about the way she dresses in Tunisia. But it is a respectable move to stand up and say, no, I'm not going to do that for you. I don't control how I might have a suggestion for you about how you're supposed to dress, but I'm not going to demand, and I'm not going to feel entitled to tell you how you could dress. And you do not have the entitlement to tell me how to dress. We've had a conversation. I put on the jacket, conversation over. I think, it's very respectable. Now, I don't know, maybe something horrible is going to happen here, but let's continue watching.
Oh,
this is what I'm wearing.
Please change this, please, baby.
Put your shoes on, please.
نشوف روحي راجل مغيار ونشوف روحي ديما نحب نتحكم. Not like the men see my girlfriend or like this.
All right, so that confirms what she's putting her foot down about. If he was going to say something like, look, I don't mind. I like the way she dresses, and if I had it my way, I'd let her dress any way she wants to. But in Tunisia, there are situations, bad situations, like violence could happen, or I don't know, something that he could say that would justify him being very upset about her dressing and what he considers to be too sexy, in his words. But that isn't what he is saying he's concerned about. What he's saying is, yes, I'm very jealous, and I don't like men looking at my girlfriend if she's going to dress in a sexy way. And yeah, if you're Rebecca, you're probably thinking, no, I can't live with that again, and I'm going to put my foot down, and if that's a deal breaker to him, then let's just end this relationship right here. I think that makes a lot of sense.
I'm sorry. I'm not trying to fight with you. But this is completely normal. This is okay for me to wear, I promise.
This makes me so angry.
Okay, but you'll see. Everything is going to be okay? I love you, and I don't want to fight.
Okay, so 2 thumbs up. For Zied, he is using his words in a calm way, differentiated way, to express how he feels. I am so angry right now. But he's not being intimidating as far as I can see yet. And he's using his words. He's not laying in. He's not saying, he's not throwing a temper tantrum. He's not throwing things physically. He's not getting violent with her. He's not threatening to leave her. He is letting her have this control over her own body and the way that she dresses, by the way, which she should be allowed to do. And that's great. So this is a good sign. I hope this doesn't escalate. Let's continue watching.
Okay. It's fine. With my ex from Morocco, I always did everything that he said, no matter what. He asked me to quit wearing makeup, I did. He asked me to wear hijab, I did. That's not who I am anymore. And while I understand we're in Tunisia and things are different here, I'm going to be who I am regardless.
Yeah, makes total sense. She's been there, done that, and she doesn't want to do it again. And if that means he doesn't like it and he's going to leave her, then so be it. I'm guessing that's the calculation that she's making. Makes total sense. Now, I don't know the context culturally. I have no idea about what the culture in Tunisia is like. So maybe she's making a huge mistake here. I guess we'll find out. Let's continue watching.
You good? Don't be angry, okay? Tonight's definitely going to be a big test on the relationship. And I think that after him having a few drinks, it's going to show me how he really is.
Interesting. So she's even saying, I'm testing him. I'm putting my foot down, and I'm going to see how he reacts, because if he blows his top, then I might as well find that out now than later. And it makes a lot of sense. So let's see how they manage it.
As much as I want this relationship to work and, and last forever, if any part of him becomes very angry, I'm done. That's it.
Yeah, that's great. Now, should everyone always leave a relationship when anger is expressed? I don't think so. But it does usually indicate a pattern that will usually grow and progress into the future. Now, does that mean that's a no-go? Not necessarily. If you get a couples therapist, I've worked with many couples that had issues like this, and some of the couples I treated had a large issue with it. And there are roads forward. There are roads to changing your behavior, changing your paradigm, changing the way you see your entitlement as a gender, seeing your way to heal the wounds that led to the overreactivity, for sure. So I'm not saying it's doomed, but it is a perfectly rational thing to say, you know what, I'm going to put my foot down on this and let's see what happens. And if something goes bad, then I'm out. Fine. I found out early. I cut my losses. I figured it out well in advance of getting too far into this relationship. But if he manages this well, then that's a really great sign. It makes a lot of sense.
Really just looking forward to letting loose and having some fun. But the night is not going as planned.
Are you okay?
No.
Whatever.
He's just not happy at all.
All right, so that's not a great sign that he is still holding kind of a grudge. He's still activated, or he's still upset and choosing to see it in a certain way. Now, again, maybe we'll find out that there is a reason, a legitimate, justifiable reason for his stance on this. But yeah, that's not a good sign. But, let's see if they can manage it.
We were arguing when we left the hotel because Zied didn't like what I was wearing.
Baby, I just want to have fun tonight, okay? I don't want to make you angry. I want to be me. I want to be myself. And you love me for however I am.
كتاب ده مرأة لابسة هيك ما يركزوش معها في أمريكا. هنا في تونس يركزوا.
Okay, so they focus on her. So what? Now, I want to say that men in my culture, I don't know about Tunisia, are taught that if you want to be a man and you want to have any worth as a man and worth as a human, then you will absolutely have control of your woman, and you will absolutely make sure that no one else touches her or does anything to her or looks at her. Those messages are constantly pumped into men's minds and boys' minds, such that it feels like an absolute threat to have a woman dress in a way that a lot of people look at. Now, some men are fine with that. Some men actually thrive on that. Some men actually force their spouses to dress in ways that garner attention, and the woman doesn't like that. So, things kind of go all over the spectrum. But so why do men do that? Well, it's because of those messages of your worth as a man is gauged by certain things, like protecting your woman from other men. Then that motivates pain and hurt and being busted up about certain things happening. You don't know how to communicate that, so you get angry. If that doesn't work, then you don't know what to do. He seems to be withdrawing and shutting down. He seems to be trying to get back at her, play the silent treatment, give her kind of the cold shoulder as a way of communicating his feelings. So it's not a disaster at this point, but it's not great. Let's continue watching.
أنا راجل غيار ما نحبش رجال تقعد تغزل لا. I tell you something. Here, people Arabic, not good. That says clothes hot, sexy or like this. Okay?
I'm not naked. I'm wearing a shirt.
I know. With this, it's okay now. It's okay.
But if I take my jacket off, suddenly there's something wrong.
That's not good. You understand me or no?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Now, there's a possibility that if Zied could speak very fluid English, or if she could speak very fluid of his language, then maybe she would understand what he's trying to say. Because I would imagine this is a nuanced thing for Zied, and I'm guessing it's really hard for him to explain how he is feeling about it.
I tell you something, okay? The people see you like this shirt, you tell you are not good woman.
Okay, so this is good in that he's actually trying to explain. I don't think it's going over well with her. And this brings up another point that often happens while I'm watching this show, is that the Americans, when they go abroad, sometimes, not always, but sometimes they have a really hard time understanding that other cultures are different. I know that sounds kind of silly, but that's the way I'd put it. When Ed goes to the Philippines and is like, what's going on here? It's like, did you think that the Philippines was going to be like San Diego? I mean, it's a completely different country. It's a completely different culture. It's a completely different country. They have a completely different way of dealing with things. So you shouldn't be surprised when you're surprised. You should actually be surprised if nothing was surprising. So for Rebecca, I keep looking up here because I keep forgetting her name. So I have a little note, Rebecca and Zied. So with Rebecca, I wonder if she could open up her mind a little bit. Like, what am I looking for? I'm looking for Rebecca to say something to Zied, something along the lines of, Zied, I totally get it. I get where you're coming from. I am an American. I don't know anything, or I don't know much about the culture here. And I hear you trying to tell me about how things are interpreted. And I want to work with you on some level, but on another level, I just kind of want to be myself. And I have a lot of traumas about being controlled. And I have a lot of traumas about people judging me and trying to fit me into a box. And I did that in the past, and it was really painful, and it still didn't work. And in fact, the controlling behavior just got worse and worse and worse. So that's where I'm coming from. I'm not just opposing you just because I want to be stubborn. This is a really big deal to me. But I also want to understand you. So tell me more about what you're saying. If I were to take my jacket off, how would other people see me in this place? Tell me more about that. And he's like, well, it would be this and this. And then, understand him. And then after that conversation from her of being humble about, like, I don't know what it's like, I would be looking for her to really try to understand. And at the end of the day, maybe she's like, yeah, I've heard you and I'm learning, and thank you for explaining that to me. I'm still taking my jacket off because that's what I want to do. And if you don't like it, then hit the streets, hit the sidewalk, hit the bricks. I don't know idioms very well. That's okay too. But so what I'm looking for here is for her to listen a little bit. She can still be herself. She can still say, I'm still going to do this or that. But trying to understand where someone is coming from, I think is warranted here.
Okay? You understand or no?
So now I'm not a good woman. I definitely see this as a red flag. I understand that we're in a different place. It's a different culture, but this is what my ex used to tell me all the time. And what's going to happen when I'm in America? Sure, you say it's because we're in Tunisia, but is it? I don't know.
Right. So I absolutely will support her efforts here to, one, assert herself, not make the mistake of the past, not relive the trauma of the past. I will absolutely support her in that for sure. And I think it'd be nice if she were like, okay, tell me where you're coming from. Tell me about your culture. I want to understand. And I'm still going to do what I'm going to do. Like, I don't know if she's taking the time to listen, because I think that's what he's trying to go for. I wonder if the conflict would be resolved if she took some time to understand and then explained, I get it, and thank you for explaining, and I see now, but I'm still going to assert who I am because I don't want to make the mistake I made in the past, and I hope that you can still love me, even though that's who I am. So that's what I would like. But what I'm seeing is a divide here. They're hurt and they're scared, which makes sense, and they're digging in and not giving the other person the benefit of the doubt, not telling the other person how they're feeling. Like, she could say, look, Zied, right now I'm feeling kind of hurt that you don't respect me for who I am. I get where you're coming from, I think, but I feel like you don't understand how important it is to me that I get to live the life that I want to live, that you don't understand what I've been through to this point. And I feel like when you say that other people will see me as a bad person, that you will think I'm a bad person, and that hurts my feelings. And from his point of view, he could say something, Rebecca, I love you, and I want you to be free to do what you want to do for sure. It's going to be an adjustment for me because that's not the way that my culture is, and that's not the sort of relationships I've had in the past. But I hear you, and I want you to have your own life and your own power of yourself, of course. But it hurts that you're not taking the time to get to know my culture, and I think you're jumping to some conclusions about some things. I don't know, they're not exploding. There's no, like I said, there's no temper tantrums, and there's no undifferentiation. Let's see how they navigate this.
Are you going to tell me what to wear when we go to America?
In America, it's okay, no problem.
How do I know that?
Because there, this is normal. All the women there, like you, like this. You are not in America here.
I'm not liking this side of Zied. If he is super controlling and there's just this constant jealousy, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to know. I mean, he could be very accurate in saying, no, it's just in Tunisia. I don't care. Once we go to the States, I don't care because it's a completely different cultural context. That's what he's saying. So I don't know if her worries about him as a personality being controlling are accurate. Now, maybe I'll know because you've watched ahead, but I don't know if I know after watching this show. I don't know if we have enough data along those lines. I guess we'll find out.
Okay, this is my character.
I've always changed myself for relationships to be successful, and it hasn't worked so far. So honestly, I'm sick and tired of being told what to do. So what you're saying, the only way that you will love me is if I am the way you want me. So if I take off my jacket...
No.
So if I take off my jacket, suddenly now I'm a bad person.
All right. Again, I wish she would spend a little bit more time getting to know where he's coming from. I think she's making some assumptions. Maybe she's right that this is a character flaw of his and that he's generally jealous and generally controlling. Maybe she's right about that, and she's really going for it and really, sticking it to him, and he deserves it. I don't know. But there could be other things at play here. There could be a lot of other things going on right now. As an American, it's hard for me to watch this scene and understand what's happening because honestly, from my point of view, I'm with Rebecca. I'm just like, yeah, take your jacket off. I mean, what's the big deal? Yeah, you have tattoos. What's the big deal? Yeah. Your shirt actually isn't even that revealing. So what's the big deal? But that's my culture, and I have to understand that. And to be a good therapist, you have to be humble and you have to realize that your notions and your understandings and the way you see the world is from your culture. And Americans have a particular problem with this, right? Not that other people don't from other cultures for sure, but Americans in particular have an issue with this. So I just have to wonder if a Tunisian person were sitting next to me, they'd be like, no, you don't understand, like, da, 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 da. And I'd be like, oh, okay. So I know that, and I just have a big question mark about this scene right now. Might I be able to understand his point of view more? I'm guessing I would, honestly, because a lot of things that happen cross-culturally where there's a conflict, usually if you really get to know the culture, then it is easier to understand where the other person is coming from. Now, having said that, if I did understand Tunisian culture, maybe I would still be like, whoa, he's really crossing a line. I don't know, but I'm guessing I would understand him better.
Now I'm a bad person because of a jacket? Like, how does this change who I am? I don't understand.
كل شيء ما تعرفوه شيء في تونس.
ديجا التاتو بتاعها يجذب النظر، يخلي العباد تغزلها.
This is make me so much angry.
لباس 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 لباس. ايش فيك تغزل؟
Yeah, uh-oh. So he's angry. This other guy, I don't know if he knows. I thought that was his friend since they were sitting so closely together, but it seems like he's a stranger. He's looking at her tattoos, which, okay, you're looking at tattoos. And Zied is now saying, what are you looking at? What are you looking at? Hey, pal, what are you looking at? That usually doesn't end well, so hopefully the other guy's like, sorry, my bad, never mind. Let's watch what happens.
نورمال قاعدة بعدين شكون اللي قاعد تغزلها؟ اي سابا عنده جوز قدامك. اي سابا جوز قدامك خليك رايس. روح كلمتك ساعدك عليه تغزلها ودي نورمال تغزلها.
I've never seen him like this.
So I don't know. We'd have to talk to Zied. But another hypothesis I might explore with him is along those lines of what men are taught. And one of the things that I was taught as a man in this culture is that if anyone violates your woman, then you, by honor, must defend her honor by attacking and physically assaulting the man. So a common scenario that one might encounter is me and my wife are walking down the street and some guy grabs her, behind or something. Well, I think a lot of people would find that it was justified if I turned around and punched him in the face or pummeled him, quite severely in certain ways. That would seem justified to a lot. Now, to other people, it'd be like, no. That's never justified. That level of violence is never justified. But that notion has been pumped into my head of if someone does that to her, I would like to think in the moment, I would say, well, what would that prove? What am I? The person's probably trying to provoke me. What's going on here? Is there some sort of scam going on? I might even ask my wife, Stacy, do you want me to punch him in the face? And she'd undoubtedly say no. Let's just move forward. So I'm not saying I wouldn't be upset, and I'm not saying that I wouldn't be very, very angry, but I also have wrestled with my own masculinity and my own self-worth, frankly, enough in my life to feel confident enough to not necessarily have to punch the dude in the face. So another factor here is for Zied, he might feel like in order to be not only a good man and a good human, but also a good partner, that if someone disrespects her, and maybe in his culture, looking at her tattoo is enough of a disrespect, that in order for him to be a good partner to her, he must stand up for her and he must pummel this guy next to her. I don't know. These are total question marks that I have. If you know culture from Tunisia, comment below. Let me know what you think. I'm very, very curious.
And I'm assuming at this point that he's going to hit this man.
ما تفصل لي الجملة تفصل على روحك يا ولد. تفصل صاحبي واحد زاد. هيا يا اخوي سابنا النابل على.
Right. This is probably not going to end well. Honestly, I thought it was just going to be a fight between Rebecca and Zied. I didn't know it was going to involve some random bystander. Now Zied is standing up over the guy. This cannot end well.
Next time.
All right. Well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself, please, because you deserve it. You really, really do.